Hello, I'm Amber.
And I'm Neha. We are parents of a gifted child who's on autism spectrum.
Through our YouTube channel, we want to help parents with children on the autism spectrum learn more about autism, avoid a lot of myths that are there around autism, as well as provide tips and strategies that can slightly ease your parenting journey. All our content is well researched, but please remember that every child is unique and there is no way that this video replaces any kind of professional medical advice or intervention. If you find this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to our channel and further share it with parents whose children may be on the autism spectrum that you may know about. Now, in our earlier video, we have talked about the importance of independent play. In case you have missed that video, please watch it because this video builds up on that video. The link to the independent play video is in the description. So once independent play skills builds, then parallel play comes, and finally the social play comes. So this is the order which is followed when a child learns how to play. Independent play skills first, followed by parallel play, and then finally social play, where he will actually engage and play with another child. Now, what is parallel play? Well, parallel play is a form of behavior where children will play adjacent to each other but will not try to influence one another's behavior. At the parallel play stage, children will be near each other but are not actually playing with each other. They will be focused on their own independent activities sitting next to each other. So, I think this is something which you would have experienced a lot with your children also on the spectrum because a lot of children on the spectrum actually are able to only get to the stage of parallel play, and ultimately getting further to the stage of social play is a challenge for them.
So, parallel play is very, very important. Again, it is a first step towards forming strong and social relationships outside the family. When we play with our children on general basis, we all are trying to engage them in the play so that they learn how to play individually. But this is followed by parallel play in the sense they start learning how to play individually. That comes to them, that comes to the child. They play on their own. But at that time, we also invite some children over to actually play alongside. They just play alongside. They do not do anything other than just play in their own thing, but playing with another child in his own activity. Now when our child is let's say when Amber is also doing a little activity around Vian, he also gets his own things and starts playing there. He gets his own toys and he engages in that activity. He doesn't ask him to for any help. He doesn't show it to him for anything. He notices that his dad is doing something, and then okay, he's doing his own thing, I'm doing my own thing, but the play is going on. Parallelly they are playing, they are looking, and they are understanding there's somebody else also doing their own stuff. So if you invite somebody, it will be a good thing to notice how your child behaves, because you can also understand that a child on the spectrum doesn't always like having other people around. It is very different with elders and it is very different with children. So to notice their behavior, you can invite some people, some kids around to figure out. Now parallel play is vital for children between 2.5 years to 3 years, and on the spectrum it can come a little later. But that doesn't mean you give up in the beginning just because he's on the spectrum, that you don't even start with this process. Start it as early as possible, whenever you feel the child is sort of ready to be in the company of another children. An opportunity, as I said, to observe other children, and it is a good way to interact. There is going to be information there how children are interacting. They're going to copy each other's actions, maybe, or language. Maybe the child who's sitting next to him will say a word or two. What are you doing? He might not understand at that time, but that other child himself will say, okay, I am doing this, what are you trying to do? Maybe he understands the word, maybe he doesn't, but it is a continuous process that you have to keep doing, you have to keep focusing on. You can't say my child does not understand, so I'm not even going to do it. I've tried a number of times and I'm not going to do it. No, it can take 100 times, 200 times, 300 times. It just has to go on. You can't just give up. Listen and learn from the children and adults nearby. That is one of the things which children do when they're sitting. Even if they're engaged in their own play, their ears are everywhere. So our children, they are usually, they have let's say they are more sensitive to sounds. So if they see somebody doing something else and they're able to understand that, that's an achievement in itself. They're looking at you, they're giving you eye contact as well at that time. So they also observe how other children play, what emotions are coming out. If they're getting angry and frustrated, they will also copy that, they will sort of understand that. And if they're happy with making something, creating something, even our child, he will look at them, he'll think about it. Okay, he has, because if they're let's say, for example, if you have an aeroplane that you have got a toy aeroplane, how is the other child playing? Is he playing on, in the air with it like that, or is it on the floor, is it on the ground? So this parallel play is important because the children observe and learn from each other. And if they're building blocks, if the other child is able to build a certain say about 10 or 15 blocks and make it into a tower, and the child on the spectrum is not able to do so, he might understand later that it is to be done in a certain way. He'll keep noticing, he'll keep observing. He might not say anything, but he will observe, and he will understand how to display his emotions as well. This will also teach them how to get along with other children. They can tolerate the presence of the other child in the room. Then language development, as we keep saying, it will come from everywhere. Language development comes from everywhere. It is not just speech therapists. Speech therapists can bring the sounds, but not the language. Language is everywhere. Even children have their own language. They can teach in their own language whatever little they can, but they can interact and they can put it across to the other child who is not even paying so much attention, but he will retain a certain amount of vocabulary. It also boosts confidence when the child is playing on his own, and when he sees, okay, he has made something and I am also making something. And the moment the other child also realizes he is making something, he comes to himself. The social play also starts, it begins from there. So when the child comes there and he says, you've made this, and children usually appreciate each other, that you've done a good job, well done, and it should be done by you as well. Okay, now how do you build parallel play skills?
Now, when a child started going to the park initially, he used to be in his own world. He used to try to do something on the swing, but he couldn't do much because his independent skills were missing. But slowly, as his skills, we started working on his independent skill, he started playing in the park on his own first. But he used to not be near other children. It took a lot of time, and somewhere around the age of around 5 years or so, he started noticing other children, how they were playing on the slide, and he used to see them, and then he used to so if there were three or four children playing together on a slide and going after one another, he used to look at them, smile at them, sometimes even copy them, though he not play along with them. But yeah,
The parallel play had started
the parallel
coming
play
there.
had started coming. And I think now he's almost 7 years, and his parallel play skills are pretty good. And since he started going to school, he has also started copying language from other children.
He started picking up language from the other
Yeah,
side.
so it's something which is very important. And but how do you build it? So start with familiar toys. Right now, if your child is playing in an area where there are other children, try to give him toys which he's already familiar with at home or at school or at play school, so the child is more comfortable and confident. Since he has built independent skills for that particular toy and knows how to operate it, when he'll be parallel playing with another children, he'll be more confident of uh, playing in with that particular toy. When at home, we should allow our child to encourage and explore with more and more toys, so that when he's out there in the park or with other children, he is aware of how to use those toys and or how to be do a particular activity. So it is very important that we give them a lot of scope for exploration, and give him a lot of different toys or activities, so that he develops his independent skill, and then he can use those independent skills at the time of parallel play.
We must give our children enough. We keep thinking that we are giving them too much, but no, because that is how we'll understand what is it that they are really interested in, which toys he's really interested in. Now we should always play alongside our children. We should model parallel play. We are playing alongside. We don't have to tell him that we are doing this. You just sit with your toys. You have to be quiet. You just sit with your toys. Okay, and then you build on, and then you can keep talking to yourself, of course. and that is what the child gets attracted to. Or the child, somebody's playing. You can, as I said, you can already take your own set of building blocks and build something, maybe a tower, or maybe let's say a building, because he understands these words. He's already explored these words. He understands these words. He sees them on television. He sees them outside, and he is sort of generalized. Generalization is also important. So once he's generalized with these things, when he's familiar with these things, it is easy for him to start building his own things. He understands, oh, I'm building this, or I'm building that, with different parts. So if you are doing it, let him also sit there. Don't talk to him, but let him sit there and do it. Then you should also invite children he's familiar with and who are of similar age. Earlier he wouldn't, as Amber said, earlier he would not play, but there are certain kids he's able to play with now. Even though he doesn't really talk to them, he's developed a little liking, and he is going to play parallelly. Though he might not like playing with them, but he understands who those children are. Then use visual aids, like pictures or videos. Children on the spectrum really love moving pictures, so keep showing them videos which are related to the toys, specifically different kinds of toys, maybe books also, that this book, that book, certain things which they're able to read, certain things which they're able to understand. Let them do that. The moment they do that, they will be able to sort of play along. Like we have Wheels on the Bus, for example. It goes on the television, and my son, he takes a book and he's going to actually do something on it, and he'll keep saying Wheels on the Bus. So he's actually imitating, which is also a big thing. And then he is playing alongside, even if he doesn't have a friend, but at least something which is going on, and he's copying it. Imitation is another thing which is very, very important. Now, we need to give them structured opportunities. This is the time you're going to play. This is a place where you're going to play. And how many times in a week, it has to be decided by you. The best would be to get into it as much as you can from the beginning. It should not be like a weekly thing, or once in 2 weeks or something. You should try every day in the beginning, because the more you give them that opportunity to explore and understand and what you're doing with them, the easier it will be for them to develop and figure out what is to be done by them, and they'll be able to pick it up quicker. Then use positive reinforcements. As always we say, you must reward your child. You must give him that kind of uh, you know let's say confidence, boost his confidence by giving him by appreciating him, by giving him hugs and kisses and stars and smileys, all this kind of stickers, so that he feels happy about it. And you should always have a smile, because if you're not appreciating, if you're appreciating without a smile, it means nothing. It means nothing to any child, for that matter. If it's just that, it should not be a formality. You should make it a big thing that he's achieved something. So it's always going to be motivational for him.
Now, remember, every child is different, and what works for one may not work for another. So you have to be patient and flexible. Don't be afraid to try different strategies until you find what works best for your child. Not for all activities, the child would engage in a parallel play. Generally, what a lot of parents try to do is they force the child into a social setting so that he does parallel play. Now, this is something which is not recommended till the child has his independent play skills there. But since after the child starts playing independently, slowly the child has to be introduced, but don't force him into a group activity or a team activity initially. For example, certain games or sports which are there where it's a team activity, a football or a basketball, where in those kinds of plays the child may not be, he may observe it, but he may not be into it totally. Try to get him into areas of activities where he can play solo or with a few number of children, so that he gets the confidence first to engage with them slowly, if not fully into it, but yeah, some kind of parallel play starts. And then as he becomes more confident, then you can actually uh, push him or her into activities where
Different areas.
where more and more children are required to participate. So also, we would recommend you to work with a therapist or a professionally trained person in autism, because they would be really helpful in designing a personalized plan for your child and help build his parallel play skills.
Please understand, even professionals, they are really trying very hard. So if they are giving you one plan, if it doesn't work, ask them for their suggestions, because it's very important to keep them in loop. They are the best people to help us. We can guide from our own experiences, but nothing more. We also need your guidance. So please do comment and let us know what we can do and how we can also help our children build more things. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.